Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 97 Republic YouTube channel, where I react to UFC news, live events, basically just anything related to the UFC. So I kindly ask that if you enjoy the video, a friendly reminder to click the like button. If you want to become a part of this channel, feel free to click the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss out on anything, you want to stay up to date, feel free to click the notification bell. All of this really contributes to the growth of this channel. I would really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy this one. Reacting to UFC Fight Night, Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo this past weekend in Iowa. Now, I was going to say Des Moines, turns out completely wrong. Turns out could not be more wrong. Once again, the spelling of the word doesn't reflect the pronunciation at all. Well, we had another Arkansas on our hands. And this is why people struggle to take English seriously. Because if we look at certain spellings like yacht or the word tough, we are basically just putting in random letters for the sake of it. And just saying, nah, forget about them. Yeah, they're silent. It's a silent, both S's in Des Moines, Iowa is silent. So leave them alone. But it turns out, even though they're silent, very applicable. This fight card, a lot of silent S's, are underwhelming, to say the least. If we look at the prelims, if we look at how it started, Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic, I thought we could be in for a good fight. Juliana, due to the fact that her last 4 wins, 3 of them was via stoppage, I thought that she would. Now listen, I'm not saying a fight needs a stoppage to be a good fight. All I'm saying is when you look at someone that has a lot of stoppage wins in their professional mixed martial arts career, there's a certain aura that comes with it due to the fact that they are very eager to show that they are better than their opponent. They want to dominate. They want to, impose their will on their opponent. They want to take risks. The lack of all of that attributes basically have you looking at a WWE match for 15 minutes. Now, I don't mind, WWE, but then I want to know, it's not mixed martial arts. Due to the fact that Ivana, even though she has a good kickboxing background, basically just didn't throw with any intent at all. Threw for the sake of throwing strikes. With regards to her kicks, not a lot of intent, not a lot of damage. Punches, the same thing. Juliana basically just took Ivana down. Wet blanket, judges liked it, Juliana wins. And I thought, oh boy, yeah, here we go. Second fight, Thomas Peterson, Dontel Mays. Now, I'm not saying Thomas did the same thing. Because in the first round, Thomas ended up taking down Dontel Mays and actually used his wrestling and looked for an arm triangle. Now, he didn't get it, but I mean, we still appreciate that. That's the problem. People think that a lot of fans have a problem with wrestling. We don't. Okay, you know how I know that is a fact? Look at the fan base of Habib. Look at the fan base of Islam. Look at the fan base of Hamzat. The difference is those guys use their wrestling as a mean to finish their opponent. Not use their wrestling and basically just use it to dominate position without putting their opponent in any danger whatsoever and benefiting the rewards of wrestling. Which the rewards are, it's scored way better than striking. Way better. That's the problem people have with wrestling. It's not wrestling. It is wrestling and then lying on the ground. Wet blanket. That I think that is the problem. But anyway, I'm not saying Thomas did that at all. He did look for submissions. He did look for that arm triangle in the first round. Did apply some ground and pound to Dontel. And yeah, good win for Thomas Peterson. A really good win for Thomas Peterson. Just wasn't that exciting. But then we started with the ascension. And I thought that this would be the foundation of the whole fight, just taking it up a notch. We saw Gaston Bolanos versus Quang Li. First round, somewhat of the same. Quang Li being guilty with regards to basically just being a wet blanket at the back. This is even worse. Is he has Gaston's back, but doesn't necessarily look for a submission. Yeah, it doesn't use it to look for a rear naked choke. Doesn't use it to try and put Gaston in more trouble, to try and maybe sweep him, but then Quang Lee ends up full mount and could just basically ground and pound his way to victory. He laid there. But then second round, at least Quang Lee went for the rear naked choke. Gaston, being the dog that he is, didn't tap, so he went to sleep out cold. And then I thought, all right, here we go. And turns out I was right, for a few moments, because next fight, Jillian Robertson, Marina Rodriguez. Jillian really dominating Marina Rodriguez. This is, see, I enjoyed I enjoyed that fight because Jillian Robertson basically went for ground and pound, really wanted that Kimura, but Marina made it very difficult for her. And then Jillian just basically went on, continued with the ground and pound. And yeah, second round, same thing. Continue with the ground and pound, and referee stopped it. Used her wrestling as a mean to finish the fight, either via submission when she was looking for the Kimura, or via ground and pound, the way she actually ended up doing it. And she looked really impressive. It has been a really impressive run for Jillian Robertson, her last 5, 6 fights. So yeah, that was good. Yeah, thank you, Jillian Robertson. Thank you. Then next fight, Ryan Loda versus Azamat Bakoyev, and Azamat not caring about the chance USA at all, because he was throwing cinder blocks at Ryan Loda's head, and unfortunately for Ryan, a lot of them connected, and Azamat went on to win via knockout, first round. So this is when I was starting to feel it. This is yeah, we are in rhythm now, and it's basically just good performance, better performance, and then we go to the main event of the prelims with Yana Santos versus Miesha Tate. Now I'm not saying it's a bad fight. I thought the last round was really good. Miesha needing a finish, really tried and get a finish. Finally taking Yana down, applying some ground and pound, but then made the mistake of actually trying to go for the submission, like Michael Bisping alluded to in commentary. Miesha Tate tried to go for the rear naked choke. She basically just whenever Yana gave her back, Miesha should have just continued to ground and pound. Just throw, throw, throw. I think the referee would have stepped in. I agree with what Michael and what Paul Felder said. Referee would have stepped in, and that fight would have been done. That fight would have been over. But unfortunately for Miesha, fortunately for Yana Santos fans, she tried to go for the submission, and then Yana basically just survived, which was way easier to do when your opponent is looking for your neck. If you know what to do, if they're on your back, then basically defending bombs from top position. So I thought it was a good win for Yana Santos. I thought the third round was really good. First two rounds, we saw Miesha really try and take Yana down. It was really difficult for Yana Santos. Looked really good in those first two rounds. I did enjoy this fight. I don't think it was a bad fight at all. I really enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed Yana Santos in the very first round, in the second round as well. Really looking good. And she looked big. She looked big for bantamweight. So I thought that was good. And then we headed into the prelims. Oh, I mean the main card rather. My bad. And this is when I felt it. This is when I felt that, because we started off with Jeremy Stevens versus Mason Jones, and with regards to my predictions, I thought Mason would win due to the fact that I just think overall he's a better mixed martial artist. He does use his clinch to good effect. I saw him use his wrestling when he fought David Onama, ended up beating David Onama, so he has good wrestling as well, and his striking is good. It's not great, but it's good. It is, his timing is good. He has good high kicks. The only problem I saw with Mason is the fact that whenever he gets in close, he does tend to drop his hands, and he is very prone to brawling. And we saw that in his last fight in the UFC. Prior to fighting Jeremy Stevens, Mason Jones fought Ludovic Klein and got caught when he was in that close range. And he ended up losing that fight. I thought that could happen again. And I thought if that had to happen again, I don't think Mason would survive that. But I picked Mason to win because I thought Mason would basically just stay out of danger, and do what he did in the third round, do that in the entire fight. Just take Jeremy Stevens down, stay out of danger. But goes to show Mason Jones is a Donny, because Mason in the first 2 rounds didn't give a piss about the danger of Jeremy Stevens. Mason threw with him, and had the better of him for 2 rounds. Now, sure, Jeremy, I mean, don't fault Mason for taking him down in the third round. Why would you want to put yourself in that dangerous situation if you could just avoid it, take Jeremy Stevens down, and just win the fight via unanimous decision? Thought Mason would win via unanimous decision. They could have scheduled this Jeremy Stevens Mason Jones fight for 18 rounds. They could be like, listen, fellas, we're gonna schedule you for 6 fights. So, try and be somewhat cautious for the first 3, and then last 3, just go at it, because that fight was insane. Jeremy Stevens bleeding, Mason Jones getting cracked, and laughing, smiling. It was beautiful. I enjoyed that a lot. Second fight, Cameron Smotherman versus Serhiy Saidi. I thought Smotherman would win that fight just due to the fact that I thought Smotherman would take the same approach Garrett Armfield took when he fought Serhiy. And listen, Serhiy in his previous fight against Garrett Armfield, he lost that fight. Now, it should be, you shouldn't be able to argue that fact. He lost that fight. Now, obviously, unofficially. But I thought Cameron Smotherman would basically take that same approach. Fight on the front foot. Have Serhiy, backpedal. Have him fight off the back foot, because it is so much more difficult to fight off your back foot. But we saw Serhiy looked really good against Cameron Smotherman due to the fact that he wasn't constantly fighting off the back foot. So he had good leg kicks, had good high kicks, had a good 1-2, used his wrestling, basically mixed everything, and Smotherman was having a problem with that. But then in the third round, I thought that was the way for Smotherman to fight the entire fight. Basically, just constantly move forward, have a little bit more volume, make it uncomfortable for Saidi to do anything. And we saw in the third round, Smotherman having a good third round. We saw him basically doing what he should have done for the entire fight, doing what Garrett Armfield did the entire fight. But anyway, credit to Serhiy, who won the fight. I mean, he definitely won this time. But previous one, definitely didn't. Then we moved on to the third fight. Now, listen, respectfully, the Smotherman Saidi fight, it wasn't spectacular at all. I thought, next fight, we'll see fireworks. Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. I thought Montel Jackson would win that fight. I actually said second round knockout due to the fact that Montel Jackson's straight punches is really, really crisp. It's really quick, and it is accurate. And yeah, once again, we saw a fighter, Daniel Marcos, try and use his wrestling to beat Montel Jackson without using the wrestling. Basically just score the takedown and try and lie on top of Montel Jackson. We saw Montel Jackson sweep Daniel Marcos in the first round, try to, take the advantage or use the benefit of that takedown to maybe land some ground and pound. Marcos got up. But then, what was odd, whenever you saw Montel Jackson doing good work on the feet, as soon as they got in close, he would go for the clinch, which I thought was odd because Daniel Marcos I felt like, had the upper hand. Felt like Montel Jackson was really good on the feet, really good with the Garza striking. As soon as they went into a grappling exchange, the benefit was with Daniel Marcos. The advantage was with Daniel Marcos. And yeah, I mean, Montel Jackson ended up winning. I thought it'd be a knockout. And we saw, I think it was, second or third round. We saw Montel Jackson just piecing up Daniel Marcos on the feet. And then as soon as they got close, Montel went for the clinch. And I'm thinking, wait, why? Because Daniel didn't have anything for Montel Jackson on the feet. If they told them to have a kickboxing fight, then Daniel Marcos would have been in trouble. But the fact that Montel went for clinching positions, the fact that Daniel went for clinching positions, all of it just benefited Daniel Marcos in that fight. And, in the second round, he had, his takedowns. Daniel Marcos had his takedowns. Didn't do a lot with it, which I previously spoke about it. But that's why the fight was really close going into the third round. I thought Montel Jackson ended up winning the third round. I thought this victory was justified. Yeah, well, we saw Daniel Marcos, Montel Jackson, not the most not the most exciting fight that you will see in your life. Once again, not due to wrestling, due to what happens after said takedown. That's the problem. But then we went on to the fourth fight on this card, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. I thought Santiago would win this fight. I just thought that he would score better. I thought that he's more active. I thought that his gas tank was better, and all of it looked like it was gonna happen. Even though we saw Santiago in the first round basically get rocked, it was all due to a slip. I don't think he would have been in trouble had he not slipped when he was throwing that kick. D-Rod capitalized, rocked him, and then in the second round we saw Santiago basically just eat a left hook and he was completely knocked out. Listen, no problem with that stoppage at all. Santiago wasn't going anywhere, even though he has made a name for himself. Surviving these situations. We saw it in the I think it was Colston Harris fight. We saw it in the Alex Morono fight. Santi getting dropped, but then basically just recovering and then laying the beat on his opponent. He was not recovering from that. I picked Santiago Ponzinibbio to win. I was wrong. D-Rod with an impressive victory, knocking out Santiago Ponzinibbio. A good win for D-Rod. I mean, his last fight against Alex Morono didn't look like the best performance Daniel Rodriguez has put inside of the UFC. Prior to that, he was on a 3-fight losing streak. So, an impressive performance, a good performance for Daniel Rodriguez, and yeah, we'll see how he builds on that. But then, yeah, this was a big one. Co-main event: Reinier de Ridder versus Bo Nickel. Now, I thought Bo would win. I thought Bo would win because I thought that the majority of this fight will play out on the feet. I thought that this would be the same fight as the Paul Craig fight, where, not a lot happens. Bo, like, slightly edges Reinier de Ridder and wins via unanimous decision. I did not see this coming at all. And if anyone tells you they saw Reinier de Ridder winning via KO against Bo Nickel due to multiple knees to the body, then yeah, they're lying. Okay, nobody saw this coming. And listen, let's just be real for a minute. Okay, I would say 89% of Bo Nickel's fans are American, due to the fact that, you know, as an American, I'm not, but yeah, hypothetically speaking, I would understand if I saw a guy be really good at a collegiate level, with all of the accolades, with all of the accomplishments, with his wrestling, then go to transition to mixed martial arts. I understand that I would want him to do good because I saw him prior to the UFC, followed him prior to the UFC, knew of him prior to the UFC. The problem is, with regards to the rest of the world, speaking for myself now, seeing that I'm not American, we don't get to see that. We don't get to see a guy's rise at a collegiate level in America with regards to his wrestling and become this figure, right? That a lot of expectations are on. So we only see the Bo Nickel inside of the UFC. And if Bo Nickel came into the UFC and ended up winning in all of the ways that he has done, but basically didn't say a word in interviews, just took the humble approach whenever he won in interviews, octagon interviews, post-fight interviews, took the humble road and say, yeah, listen, I got the victory. I'm still not there yet. I don't think, even though it was a good performance, or even though, I ended up winning, I don't feel like I'm there yet. I don't feel like I have even come close to what I could accomplish. I'm basically I'm very new at this. I took the humble approach. But instead, Bo, as a guy that hasn't fought anyone that is ranked, took the approach of if he fought Hamzat, he would be able to take Hamzat down. He would he would dominate Hamzat. When he spoke about Drikas, he said Drikas isn't that good. That is why people enjoyed this. That is why people outside of America enjoyed this. If Bo Nickel took the humble approach and basically, didn't say a lot, people would be like, okay, listen, Bo Nickel lost to Reinier de Ridder, and that's fine, seeing that the only person that has beaten Reinier de Ridder in his professional career is probably not even human. Okay, Anatoly Malaikin is the only person that has ended up beating Reinier de Ridder at one championship. Now, if you're one of those conspiracy theorists that believe in reptile people, you could make your case and basically just show Anatoly Malaikin. If there's a documentary released 30 years from now where the Russians basically come out and say, yeah, listen, since the end of the Second World War, we had this massive idea of building our own person, where we basically took human DNA and we somewhere found a sample of dinosaur DNA and we combined it in 1988 and we had Anatoly Malaikin. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, the guy fights in one championship. He is a three division champion, was a three division champion in one championship. So losing to that guy is fine. Yeah, completely understandable. He's not even human. So if Bo lost to Rainier, people will say, listen, okay, yeah, well, it makes sense. Rainier was champion at one, is a really good fighter, has fought high level competition, really experienced with regards to his professional career, and Bo's inexperienced. I mean, Bo basically just recently transitioned from being a wrestler to a mixed martial artist. Bo will get back. I think he has a high ceiling. That would have been our response. But seeing Bo talk all of the shit he's said, it is why people find joy in seeing that Bo lost. Because of the things that Bo said, saying that certain people won't even be able to sniff his jockstrap if it was just pure wrestling. Now, even though that might be true, when have you heard Habib say something like this? Yeah, he said he'll smash your boy, but he didn't say that other people won't be able to. I don't know. Maybe I just have an underlying underappreciation for Bo Nickel, but I enjoyed seeing Renier beat him, and yeah, from what I see, it's not because I hate Bo Nickel. I wouldn't even say it's because I dislike Bo Nickel. I just don't like people that haven't proven themselves. I mean, that's the Habib proved himself. Habib had a fat record behind his name. Whenever he said he will smash your boy, whenever he said different level, whatever, he had a fat record behind his name. And he already had 11, 12 fights within the UFC. Well, I mean, let's say 8, 9. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was seeing Rainier win in that fashion. I didn't expect it at all, but a massive win for Rainier de Ridder. And yeah, Rainier said that he felt like he had the upper hand with the striking, and both thought he had the upper hand with the striking. I thought Bo had the upper hand with the striking, and yeah, I was wrong. But then main event, we saw Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Underwhelming, and it's not anyone's fault. Deiveson Figueiredo in the second round looked like he popped his knee, so lost via they say TKO KO. It's not really that. It's due to an injury. But I mean, Cory looked good. First two rounds, or up until that point, Cory Sandhagen looked really good. Looked really crisp on the feet. Was really good with regards to his takedowns. His submission threats was good. His submission defense was good. I mean, he trains with Ryan Hall, who's basically one of the kings of leg lock. So you'd expect Cory Sandhagen to be comfortable in that 50-50 position a lot of times. The one that he had with Deiveson Figueiredo prior to what happened to Deiveson. So yeah, I thought it was a good performance for Cory Sandhagen. I really do think that he should be next. Should take on the winner of Marab versus Sean for the second time. And yeah, but all in all, this card, it felt underwhelming. It felt underwhelming. It felt like in a lot of fights, people didn't really take any risks. And in some instances, I understand it. Mason Jones, third round, I understand it. I mean, you're winning the fight, so why would you take a risk? Just basically dominate on the ground. Montel Jackson, Daniel Marcos, third round, nobody took risks. It looked labored. With regards to Smotherman, Saidi, no one taking risks. Saidi just basically cruising the third round, willing to lose that round because he knew he was winning the fight, didn't take a risk. Yeah, I get it. Okay, you're there to win, but there is also a point where you have to market yourself. All your fights have to market you. So yeah, it makes it tough. Anyway, some underwhelming card, but really good fights. Inside of that, something to every dark cloud has a silver lining. We saw some silver linings. They needed Ritter's performance. Mason Jones, Jeremy Stevens, definitely one of them. Even Santiago Ponzinibbio, D-Rod. 38-year-olds looking really good and pushing the pace. So, yeah, you don't have an excuse. If 38-year-old Santiago Ponzinibbio and 38-year-old Daniel Rodriguez looks like they actually want to fight. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, let me know in the comment section which fight did you enjoy the most? Which fight do you think warrants being fight of the night? And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.